Yo, what is good? It's your boy Gurf. I am here with that guy Runnit.
What up?
We really appreciate the love we've been getting on Redemption, so we wanted to get together and do a little breakdown, show you how we made things and the thought process behind all the sound design and all that stuff. So let's quit talking. Let's get into it.
Fuck yeah.
So let's start with the intro. There's like this really weird, like cowboy kind of guitar loop.
Yeah, so I just oftentimes go searching into the corners of the internet and YouTube and go to what's called the Vinyl Frontier or a couple other just vinyl collectors that just collect a ton of like ridiculous samples, and I found this one that was just this old Western guitar, and it just ended up being something that I really liked and wanted to flip into something. That's what the first thing that I found that started this project.
It's very, very cowboyish. It's very like Wild Wild West.
There's this other one that I found that was just a part of some other collection that was just in this big playlist of like horror stuff. It's called Eyes. I'm not sure if it's from a horror movie, but it definitely sounds like it. And then we've got more that ends up making it even more cowboyish. We got some like percussion loops and stuff like that ended up giving it like kind of like a horse trotting sound almost.
The whole build together sounds like this.
Yes.
The drums fucking slap, but it's not like we crazy clipped them or compressed the living shit out of them.
I told you it's not ready yet.
Honey, just show it to them.
Psychoactive substance.
This is just like really solid samples that Nick put together with layering other samples. So
like with snares, it's really important to keep the transient. So the first one that I made is basically is two snares in one that kind of flam, so it keeps the transient while also separating it and making the body kind of like thicker because you can widen it up. So this is the original one that I made. It's just like trap snares, one in the middle and then two pan to the sides. And there's also other shakers and everything else underneath to make it so that it's not dry, so it gives it its own space. I have like a whole layer that's just all stomps and shakers and stuff that go underneath the main drums so that it basically beefs up everything and puts it in its own room, kind of.
and that gives so much more character. That gives so much more character to things. Two big things that a lot of people ask for this little tutorial, Joan. The big stretchy bass that happens a couple beats into the drops.
Sounds like this.
And the main lead. So we'll start with that big, stretchy, disgusting bass.
After all effects and everything else, sounds like this. It's that nasty one. Before and after. So this is the original sample that I got off of like a really old boom bap hip hop sample pack from like 5 years ago. That's really it. So you heard where the original sample, like, where that came from and what it evolved into. So it has a really hard peak in the beginning, real hard transient, but it still has like growlish
yeah, it has
like
a
low val to it. So then I loaded it into a granulizer.
Fruity granulizer.
So what I did was I automated the spacing of it so that it gets larger and larger as the sample plays out. So it goes down in pitch and gets spread out, and that's why it makes it into that gnarly sound. It's really, I mean, there's not too much else on the sound besides a SerumFX. I used a low-ass comb filter just to give it some more body.
So yeah, so let's hear it without the comb.
So without the comb,
this is just with the granulizer without the comb filter.
After all effects and everything else, sounds like this.
Wow. So just to recap that, this was a tom sample that was put in granulizer to be stretched out to be grainy, and then with a comb filter from SerumFX. That's like 3 steps. It's really 2 processing steps, but that's 3 things. Less is more sometimes. Seriously.
It's true.
So yeah, so the main lead that we're gonna go over is not the one that happens right on the downbeat. We're talking about not that one. We're talking about the one that plays the triplets a little bit later in the bar that carries most of the tune for the drop. That.
Really, with that one, I just have the most simple sound. Again, I'll play for you the original with nothing on it, and then bring in everything slowly so that you can kind of hear the progression of what I heard when I was making it. First sound that we had was just literally just a deep square wave. Let me turn it. Hold on.
Okay. So it's like
So-
the glitchy square wave with just a little hyperdimension and distortion to like bring it out.
Right. From there, we've got a reverb filter. It's set to the mod wheel, the same as the pitch of the actual synth. So you can move it and modulate it and automate it at the same time so that they follow each other. So then we add a really high comb filter. And then the last one is a low-pass comb filter just to fill out the vowel sounds that I made with the previous one. We've got it sounding like this. So, yeah, that's how that was made. The only other thing really that made this track is the vocal sample, and the vocal sample is from some really old rap song that I ripped from just downloading zips of acapella packs and stuff and looking through them for hours, and it's this like rap group I guess called Ghost Town.
Let these haters know we.
And that was it.
Yeah. So Ghost Town, throw your motherfucking G's up. Let these haters know.
Let these haters know we.
It's just in the like second verse, deep in the acapella. So that no one will ever find it.
Something I've seen you do a couple times with like finding vocal samples for like pre-drops. Literally like listen to the whole verse a cappella and find the one line that sticks out to you, because when you listen to things with the instrumental, the way the phrasing lines up and stuff, there's a different psychological weight to like the 4th or 8th bar of like a phrase.
Especially for just adapting it into EDM, it doesn't really matter. It just really matters on how you can adapt it into and like mold it into your own track.
Alright. And that's honestly pretty much a complete breakdown of the first drop. We'll let you guys hear it, and if you haven't checked out the full track on SoundCloud, go ahead and do so. I think we're signing out though.
Peace, guys.
Peace. Enjoy this, and please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you guys later.